Hey everyone, I'm Kevin with Squatch Proof. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through a quick installation of our bed underside mudguard for the Ranger 1000 and 1000 XP. So right here I have the actual panel. Obviously this is designed to go in place here along the bottom side of the bed. That's going to serve a couple purposes. One, visual, just to kind of clean this up and give it a more finished look. Two, it's going to cover up all these various voids that can collect mud and dirt and things when you're out on the trails. So there's not a whole lot to it, just a couple screws that you may have to remove and a few to get reinstalled holding this in place. So let's get started. So this first step is going to vary just a little bit depending on whether you have an XP or non-XP Ranger. What we found is right here at the back of the bed, there's a little bit of a kind of angled cutout on the XPs that allows this panel to just slip in nice and easily. Whereas on the non-XPs like I have here, this is more of a straight cut. So what we have to do is just remove the two screws here, allowing us to manipulate this plastic just a little bit and allow the panel to slide in behind. For that, you're just going to need a T30 Torx driver to get these out of the way. Now you will want to hang on to these because they will be reused once our panel is installed. Now with those two screws out of the way, you can see that this can be easily manipulated to tuck the panel up in behind there, and we can begin getting it installed at this point. One thing I do want to point out down here at the bottom edge, which is where we'll kind of be starting tucking that in place, is there's this factory wire harness running along the bed frame. You want to make sure, one, not to pinch that with the panel, but also that the panel tucks up above that tight to the bed when it's going into place. So you can kind of see the general orientation. You're going to put it in here. This will basically be the top with the bed tilted like it is now, and this point will go in toward the center of the vehicle. And then basically, like I mentioned, we're just going to start by tucking the bottom in here above that harness and pulling this out to allow the panel to kind of start nesting up into place. Now before you go any further, you do want to make sure that this inside edge is kind of up above the bed pivot bolt over here. So then the two obstacles here up top are going to kind of be the bed locking mechanism along with this bed bumper in here. To get around those, you're just going to apply some downward pressure here in the center of the panel, upward pressure at the top to just kind of flex this and allow you to manipulate it back behind there. Now this part can be just a little bit tedious because you're going to have to kind of flex the panel again a bit and get it tucked in above that bumper, and it's a little bit tight there between the bumper and the bed. Go ahead and use a plastic pry tool if you have one, if you need that assistance. The reason we're using plastic is so that we don't damage the coating here on the panel. And you should be able to get that manipulated into place. At this point, you're just going to start lining up the holes and threading in the hardware. If you need a little help lining up the holes, a small Phillips screwdriver, something, a punch even, would work just fine. You can kind of stick that in the holes once you get them close and pry around just a little bit to manipulate the panel in either direction. And then to secure the panel in place, we're going to provide you with these coarse thread 1/4 button heads. So for that, you'll need a 5/32 hex to drive those in. Make sure you have it lined up and just kind of carefully get that started. Now a couple things I do want to mention here before I tighten this all the way up. These are going into unthreaded plastic bosses, so you're basically cutting your own threads as the bolts are going into place. So with that being said, just use a little bit of caution. Make sure you're being careful as they're going in, and then I actually stopped a couple threads short because I'm going to finish this off with a hand ratchet so you can feel that tension and make sure that you're not over tightening these. Also, it's a good idea to leave all of this hardware just a little bit loose while you're working on getting the rest of them lined up and started so that you can still manipulate this panel ever so slightly. So then, like I said, all 6 bolts in place. We'll finish these off by hand. And then we can come back and reinstall the 2 factory screws out here. So that's all there is to getting this installed. Now, if you guys have any questions at all about this or anything else we offer here at Squatch Proof, you can check out our website, squatch-proof.com, or give us a call at 269-323-1162.